As World War II was coming to a close in 1945, Allied peace conferences in Yalta and Potsdam determined the fate of Germany's territories. The Yalta Conference was the second meeting of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, and Franklin D. Roosevelt. These three leaders agreed to demand Germany's unconditional surrender and to begin plans for a post-war world. I agreed to permit free elections in Eastern Europe and to enter the Asian War against Japan.
Joseph Stalin, you are promised the return of lands lost to Japan in the Russo-Japanese War. Stalin broke his promise of free elections in Eastern Europe and installed governments dominated by the Soviet Union.
At the Potsdam Conference, which was one of the last World War II meetings, Harry Truman, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin agreed on German economy, punishment for war criminals, and land boundaries. A wall was being built to separate the east and west sections of Germany during World War II. On the west, Germany was separated into three sections: the U.S., Great Britain, and France. On the east, the USSR was in control. Then, on the inside of the USSR side, was Berlin. Berlin was also split up into four sections. The same countries, which were the U.S., Great Britain, and France, were in control of separate parts of Berlin. It was also known as the Berlin Wall. It was built around the U.S., Great Britain, and France sections.
What was a simple fence turned into a wall. 300-foot no man's land, an additional inner wall, soldiers patrolling with dogs, a raked ground that showed footprints, anti-vehicle trenches, electrical fences, massive light systems, watchtowers, bunkers, and minefields.
This is Berlin, which is right in the middle of Eastern Germany, which is also the Russian side. Now, the Russians want the French, British, and Americans out of Berlin for good. So they create the Berlin Wall, which is this yellow border all the way around Western Berlin. And they want them to starve, or they want them to retreat. But the U.S. and the Allies, they were able to supply the city by the air by something called the Berlin Airlift, where they send planes with food, and they drop it in West Berlin, and they fly back the shortest route possible.
I'm hungry. Being in this wall sucks. America and its allies, help me!
The construction of the Berlin Wall did defuse the crisis over Berlin. As President Kennedy said, a wall is a heck of a lot better than a war. Over time, East German soldiers replaced the wall with one more sturdier, a 12-foot tall, 4-foot wide concrete wall, topped with an enormous pipe, made it nearly impossible to climb over. Also behind the East Berlin side was a death strip, which consisted of a gauntlet of soft sand, floodlights, dogs, tripwire traps, and patrolling soldiers. After the wall was built, it was impossible to get inside West Berlin except two checkpoints, Checkpoint Charlie and Checkpoint Bravo. A spokesman for East Berlin's Communist Party announced the change in the city's relations with the West.
East and West Berlin should be able to migrate freely on each side of the wall. The wall was torn down by the East Berlin side on November 9, 1989. The people were allowed to pass to the west side. Eventually, machines came and broke down all of the wall. The people were united for the first time since 1945. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen this since 1945! Oh my gosh, In the end, the Berlin Wall signified a powerful and enduring symbol of the Cold War. It was made official on October 3, 1990, almost 1 year after the actual fall of the wall.